Hey, you can't rub on those buttons. Those buttons have functions. They're not scratching posts for kitty cats. They're not scratching posts for kitty cats. We got to do this Cancer video. Yeah. Come on. Cancers are waiting. Let's press the record button. Oh, we are. Yep. Welcome. Come on, Taffy, say hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is G. You're watching Allastrology and Taffy too. Yeah. Wow. She really wants to be front and present today. We had a horrible, not really horrible, but for her, thunderstorm and lightning, and yeah, it was dark, and now the sun's not really out, but you know, the thunder and the lightning is gone, and so she's like, I want to be around a human being. Other than that, if it's like that, storming and like that, this cat runs to the closet and she buries herself in the back of anybody's closet. Well, really her mama's closet, and just buries herself and gets under as many things as she can so she doesn't have to hear the sound. She's a tortie, and they're really sensitive. And Taffy is absolutely a sensitive tortie. So Cancy, how the hell are you? We are going to talk about your April. Sorry, this was a different beginning, but that's what we're doing. It's all things different for right now. And so we're going to embrace that, right? And now we're going to talk about your April, and all the cardinal signs I'm getting their videos done as first off, because we have some events happening in April. Doesn't have to be bad events, but there's definitely some challenges and changes, right? The 2 C's. So some of you may embrace this and be like, yes, I'm ready. I've been waiting. I'm good. Right. So there's going to be like 3 main things we're going to go over. Okay. So there's normally an ending and a beginning. And so what I want to do is walk through the month in a chronological way. And so in all actuality, this new beginning for Cancers begins, well, for all of us, begins at the butt end of the previous month, March. So the difference is we're talking about Mars. Mars is making a move. Mars is leaving Gemini energy. Holy crap. This is like we've been waiting for this because it's been in Gemini for 6 months. It's been retrograding in Gemini, which means it's more intense. It's also at its highest point of being out of bounds, which makes it more extreme and intense. So Gemini energy, just so that you know, so that you can look back upon it. And here, I'll give you some quick keywords for Gemini so you could see how Mars, which is our physical body, Mars is a fighter, Mars is aggressive. When it gets intense like that, very aggressive, can be dangerous when it gets really intense like that. So it could be like road rage, because Mars carries a weapon. It may even use the car as a weapon because it was in Gemini, automobiles. Short trips is Gemini energy, like local neighborhood, Gemini energy. Merchants and businesses, Gemini energy. Your neighbor, your sibling, your coworker, your schoolmate. So school. So in schools, right? Schools and teachers, right? Mars in Gemini, right? So you understand where I'm going, right? Now, Gemini is a lot of other things. It's about thinking and talking and learning and sharing information and social media. It's all of that too, right? Mars was in there, and now it's leaving Gemini energy. This is literally like the last 2-3 days of March, goes into the sign of Cancer. So this is you. Now, this can be a benefit because Mars going into your sign means you're going to feel more energy, because that's what Mars is. It's the physical body, and Mars has got a lot of energy, but it is not sustained energy. Mars is about sporadic bursts of energy. It doesn't have lasting. Mars is not a sprinter. I'm sorry. I just said that backwards. This is my brain. My dyslexic is coming out. Mars is not a marathoner. Mars is a short sprinter. Okay. That's what it excels at. Short sprints. So it's really good coming out of the gate. So the thing with that is we just got to keep in mind that when we go to begin a project, when we go to start something, we're real fiery. We're all riled up. We're like, yes, let's get it done. And we even seem like there's a massive sense of urgency with it, because that would be Mars. That would be Mars. Mars is all about that. Mars is the marine. So it's like, what is that name? What's that thing they say? Hoorah, right? That is so Mars. It is so Mars. Like, let's go, charge, right? That is Mars. So having it in your first house is your body, and that's Mars. Okay. So before I go any further, if you're watching this as your birthday sign, that is fine. Just keep in mind then that everything I say from this point on, you're thinking about the way you express and radiate, the way you shine, because that is the sun. That's your birthday sign. For those of you who know what your rising sign is, Cancer, ascendant, that's what this reading is originally formulated for, because it is pinpoint accuracy with dates and timing. You understand what I'm saying now? Yeah. So if you don't know and you want to know, comment to me below. I will help you out in any way that I can. Now, moving right along, Mars also can tend to inflame things. All right. So if you have somebody who has inflammation or inflammation issues, me, anytime Mars is aspecting certain things in a certain way, you may notice an increase of inflammation. All right. So once Mars moves, you notice a decrease in inflammation. And that's the beauty of astrology. This isn't going to be forever. I can literally look on my calendar and I can see a beginning and an end date. And that gives hope. That gives me hope anyway in dealing with myself and my own issues, right? So now I wanted to make sure I had that backdrop of Mars being in your first house. The next thing, Mars being in the sign of Cancer, right? So the next thing is you have to take into consideration all those keywords for Mars, as far as it being one who can inflame things, not just our physical body, but it can inflame conversations, right? It can, because it likes to start things. So some would even say an instigator, right? So if Mars goes into the sign of Cancer, Cancer normally represents our feelings, our emotional needs, our emotional security, our family, our home, tribal energy. So people who feel like family to you, right? So maybe at this time, while Mars is going through Cancer, which by the way is the entire month of April, because it's not a fast mover, all right? It will tend to, Cancer's water, and it's Cancer's in the home, and it wants it to be, whatever the things it is that you need it to be to feel like home, right? It's your space. That's going to be real important. Almost kind of like a cocoon type of thing, right? That's Cancer energy. Think of a turtle, think of a crab, right? Think of those that carry the home on their back. That's that Cancer energy. So if Mars goes there, you may be more active. There may be more things that happen in the home, some changes in the home, because it's home and family, but it is also the sticks and the bricks. Okay. And if you're not into sticks and the bricks, you can be like my friend Boondocking with Dennis. If you haven't watched this channel, go check him out. Ocean and the Gulf Shores, or Gulf of Mexico, I should say. Gulf Shores. That's my other family member. So just some beautiful visuals there, and helps me keep my sanity and my peace of mind. He lives in his truck. So that's his home. Or as he likes to say, I don't know if that's my house, but it's where I sleep, right? He lives outside of it, right? But he does work in there. He does, right. Yeah, he cooks in the back. So he's living in his truck. So that's his home. And so my whole point of that is to give an example of what a different home can look like. And so it doesn't matter what it is that you call home. Okay. It doesn't matter what you call home. Mars being there, Mars can be really sporadic and can be super, might not think things through, because that's Mars. It's more about, I'm just going to take action instead of thinking it through first. Okay. So this is good for all the signs, for all of us to remember for the entire month of April, that Mars is now in the home. So for me, I'm keeping this in mind with my mom. My mom's been going through some major health issues, she's 84. That's the Pluto opposing Pluto time in a person's life. And so she's going through some major stuff. And now Mars entering Cancer tells me to just be aware that Cancer can represent mom, but it can represent anyone in your life that has a nurturing energy, feminine energy typically. feminine typically, but it can be anybody that you know that presents to you like family. Sometimes you meet people and they just feel like family. These are those people. All right. So if something comes up and things are a little, if there's some stress or some tension or awkwardness at times where you're not getting along, or communications, or it could be a lot of different things depending upon your chart, but just know that Mars can create tension and square energy to significant one-on-one relationships, and to like what it is we want to do, our goals and our ambitions. Like, hey, this was my goal. I wanted to go and do this. And somebody else may say, oh, we're not going to be around, or we're not doing that, or we don't do that, or whatever. And so you feel like it throws a monkey wrench into things. And that's Mars. It loves to throw monkey wrenches into things. That's what it does. Okay. But it's not to be a badass necessarily, although it can be. Mars is a little on the young side, meaning it doesn't think first, and it doesn't have conversations first. It doesn't find out, hey, will this work for you? No, because it's so self-orientated. It really is. That's Mars in general, right? So think about that when you're dealing with your family, because not only are you going to be experiencing that, but everybody is going to be experiencing Mars in Cancer for the month of April. Now, there's when we get to the 7th of March, because Mars is already right at the beginning of March, Mars is already a few degrees in Cancer. So we get to March 7th and we have a release and a closure and an ending. Okay. The release, the closure, and the ending. What does that sound like? It sounds like full moon energy. And you're right. So this can be a big release for some folks because we got Mars in Cancer, and Mars can sometimes say, hey, somebody needs a surgery, right? Because it's cuts and it's inflammation. Mars has a knife. Weapons, right? But typically a knife, born with a knife, but weapons in general, Mars likes, because it's the Marine, right? I know I've said all these things already, but I'm just kind of trying to make sure that you're with me on this, that you kind of get the flow of where I'm going. So for Cancer, the significant one-on-one relationships are really with family members. And this is according to your chart. I'm not making this up. This is according to the stuff up in the sky, the planets, and where they're moving. Okay. So remember, this is for the Cancer risings. But if this is your sun, you would say, okay, so this can be an authority figure in my life. Yeah, because the sun represents dad or an authority figure in your life. So I gave the other sun words earlier at the beginning about your energy, but it can also represent somebody who's in charge in some way. All right. So home and family and mom energy, there might be some difficulties. There might be something you have to let go of. Okay. It's a significant one-on-one relationship. And maybe it's people who felt like family who you're now like, oh gosh, we don't talk anymore. Maybe it's some family members where you have a falling out. Like that was just so huge. And I'm thinking it still is huge because the division in the country, because I'm in the US, and then the damn pandemic and the God blessed politics that's in everything, it seems like. So lots of division. All right. Now we move on to the 19th, April 19th. Now this is a big deal. April 19th, keep it in your head, the calendar in your head. This is a new beginning because this is an eclipse energy, and it's in Aries. Now, Mars is kind of ruling this entire month. I hate to say this, but it is, because this eclipse, with Aries being the new moon solar eclipse, Mars rules this eclipse because it rules the sign of Aries. So we're freaking having an eclipse with Mars. So Mars likes to start things. Mars likes to do things. Mars is very physical. It's like we are beginning something. And with Mars in an eclipse, that already means we're beginning something. You are definitely beginning something new. Now, the degrees are going to matter, right? Pay attention to the degrees. It is 29 degrees and like 55 minutes or something like that. So I'm calling it for 30 degrees of Aries. Technically, in your chart, you're not going to see a 30 degrees of Aries. So you have something at 29. So for those of you who have your chart, if you have something at 28, 28, 29, even, okay, 28, 29 degrees of Aries, and then 0, 1, and even 2 degrees of Pisces, this will affect you. This will be a bigger deal in your life than it will for others. Okay. I do not have anything at these degrees. So I can tell you right off the bat, this eclipse isn't that big of a deal for me. If you think it is for you, or if you're not sure, just comment to me and I can help you to figure that out. Now, what is this going to be about? It's a new beginning because it's a new moon, and it's a new moon, but this new moon is an eclipse because it's near It's near the point of where the sun and the moon are exactly together. They're exactly together. And because that happens every new moon, let's be clear, but it's near a nodal axis, one of the nodes. I'll just put it like that. I'm trying to keep the astrology out of this as much as possible. So what happens at that point is there's lots of meanings there. The node itself, it's near the north node. When I say north node, think my future. So this is something that is changing and it has to do with your future. So in other words, this is the beginning of something that is definitely going to play a part in your future. Now, for those of you who know that you have this as your ascendant, this is in your 10th house. Your 10th house is all about your goals, your ambitions. For some of you, it is a vocation. It is something you've just always worked at. Okay. Something you want to work at, something you want to achieve. It's a vocation, even if you're not getting paid for it. For those of you who are blessed, where you are able to not only work at something that you want to work at, but also get paid for it, then this is that as well. Okay. I had a good question under the channel the other day. Somebody said, hey, 10th house, is there any possibility of marriage? Absolutely. Because it's 10th house. And so 10th house is, if marriage has been a goal of yours, see, 10th house is very serious energy. We're thinking about our future. We're thinking long term. And if you know for yourself, you need a partner, if you know you need a partner, and that's part of what will make you happy, that's part of how you can see yourself, long-term financial stability, right? Like you can bring something to the table, but when you couple it up with somebody else, wow, we can go far together. Absolutely, partnerships and marriages, 10th house, for sure. For sure. So it's a new beginning. It's a fiery new beginning because Mars rules this. If you are a female or if you are feminine, if you are feminine energy looking for masculine energy, can we put it like that? And then for those who don't associate with any of that, well, there's just masculine and feminine out there. This is absolutely masculine energy. So if you're welcoming, I'll start with masculine energy. This supports that 100%. Okay. So if it's in your 10th house for you, Cancer, this can be career. This can be your goals. Now, this can also affect your home and where you live. Yes, it can. Because this energy is in the 10th house. So at the opposite of the 10th house is your home. Right. So there's a lot going on for you. But if you want me to make it clear, we're talking about your physical body. We're talking about your home, your feelings, your family, your emotions, and your goals, your career, your serious thoughts about your long-term financial, tangible securities. In a nutshell, that's your month of April in a nutshell. Okay. You got any questions? Comment to me below. I would love to help you out in any way that I can. And yeah, take care. This is G. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye. Below the video, I'll have all the degrees for those of you who like to pay attention to the degrees in your chart. Again, if you don't know and you want to know, just comment below.